More and more people are suffering from problems related to their mental health, and at the same time, new research emerges every year about the important relationship between mental health and nutrition. In this video, I want to share my journey into the field of nutritional psychiatry and explain how it completely changed my life for the better. It is one of the fastest growing fields within psychiatry, super fascinating, and very promising for all kinds of mental health aspects. Along the video, you will learn what nutritional psychiatry is and why it's more important than ever, why certain vitamins and minerals that you're probably deficient in are hugely important in your mental well-being, why most advice on this topic is too superficial and doesn't work, and what to do instead to optimize your mental health through the right diet and supplements to help with things such as anxiety, depression, mood swings, and more. Now, before we get started, a short disclaimer. The following isn't medical advice. So if you think you might have a more serious problem, please go see a doctor. What we will be talking about is more along the lines of lifestyle and diet advice. It's not a substitute for working with a professional. With that said, let me quickly explain what nutritional psychiatry is, how I got into it, and why it's been so important in my own health journey. Nutritional psychiatry is defined as the practice of using food and food supplements as treatments for problems related to your mental health. As we learn more about the link between the foods you eat, the supplements you take, and how your body, nervous system, and brain react to the nutrients in them, it is only logical that these insights should also be applied to helping people with their mental problems. I first got into contact with nutritional psychiatry when I faced some serious health problems myself. Before I talk about them, I need to share something about my personal background though. Basically, all throughout my life, I was a fairly happy-go-lucky type of guy with an overall positive attitude towards life. Over the last couple of years, this gradually changed though, and I became more easily stressed and developed constant anxiety that didn't really seem to be rooted in any real stressors or threats. I just started noticing that I would get super worried about the smallest things and developed all kinds of phobias. At the time, I tried my best to ignore these changes in attitude because I thought they were due to my new job and overall stressful life. Because I was a fitness trainer, my diet and exercise regimen were pretty healthy already, so I thought the symptoms would go away with time. But they didn't. In fact, they became stronger, and at some point in 2020, I completely crashed both mentally and physically. Not only did my anxiety and brain fog get worse, I also developed chronic fatigue syndrome, which basically describes fatigue that doesn't go away no matter how long you rest. It was a very painful experience, and it still hurts talking about it. But the one good thing that came with it was that I was forced to make drastic changes to my diet and overall lifestyle because what I was doing was obviously not working. I not only got professional help and started going to therapy, but also started researching everything I could about nutritional psychiatry because from my time as a fitness coach and nutritionist, I knew how powerful the right diet and supplements could be. Now, I have to say that most of the information on the first few pages of Google and the most viewed videos on YouTube was pretty superficial. They all basically said the same thing. Eat the right foods with a lot of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Keep your brain healthy and protected from oxidative stress as well as free radicals. Basically, the normal focus on an overall healthy and balanced diet and the get some exercise and keep your head up type of advice. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with these recommendations, but my problem was that I was already doing all of it and it didn't keep me from developing my symptoms, let alone get me out of them. And to be honest, I don't need to do weeks of research to know that a healthy diet is the minimum requirement for optimal health. Of course, there was also the supplement advice. Things like make sure to get enough omega-3 fatty acids to improve brain function and reduce inflammation. Avoid a vitamin B12 deficiency to ensure neurotransmitter production and energy levels, and get enough vitamin D for optimal mood regulation. While these recommendations might sound more specific at first, none of them worked for me because they didn't tell me if I should get these nutrients from food or supplements, if I should focus on one or get all of them at the same time, and what to do if I didn't tolerate a certain supplement and got side effects. This happened a lot, by the way. Over time, I developed the feeling that the standard diet and supplement advice related to nutritional psychiatry either didn't work at all, or maybe it just didn't work for me. It felt like an unorganized mess where every supposed expert tells you something different without giving you any specifics on what to do and how to track progress. Fortunately, I didn't give up and instead kept digging deeper and deeper until I found advice that actually was able to help me. The rest of this video will be a summary of what I learned, and I will also tell you how you can get started yourself if this is something that interests you. Okay, so basically my personal breakthrough came when I started talking to actual practitioners who work with patients every day and who have helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people get better. Their insights were so much more valuable than any blog post could have been. They told me which nutrients actually mattered, which tests you should get, and how to supplement correctly. I will do my best to summarize the most important insights now. So here are the pillars of effective nutritional psychiatry. Number 1 is to focus on the nutrients that our body runs on. So vitamins, minerals, and optionally also amino acids and fatty acids. These are integral to our biochemistry, and your body was designed to have enough of them. It also means that while certain superfoods or herbal supplements can sometimes help, they should not be your main focus. We simply don't understand their complex effect on our body, brain, and nervous system well enough that we can create reliable results. Next, understand the difference between nutrient deficiencies and nutrient imbalances. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, most advice on nutritional psychiatry focuses on avoiding deficiencies of nutrients that are seen as critical to our brain. The problem with this approach is that it completely ignores the fact that most people's symptoms aren't even due to deficiencies, but nutrient imbalances, so having too much of a certain nutrient compared to another. This approach is called nutritional balancing or mineral balancing, and it was a game changer for me. It taught me how nutrients interact with each other and why you might get side effects from taking too much of a certain mineral or vitamin. For example, the average person often has too much copper in relation to zinc in their body. This is called biounavailable copper or copper toxicity and can lead to all kinds of problems because copper is very stimulating to the brain and body and can lead your nervous system to constantly go crazy. Zinc is copper's natural antagonist, so it helps keep it in check. If you are low in zinc and take a zinc supplement, the excess copper that build up over time in your tissue will be pushed out and often makes your symptoms worse for a while. Many people think they don't tolerate zinc supplements, even though that is exactly what they need, and the side effects would go away after a while. These are the things you really only understand if you learn about the nutrient relationships and imbalances. Just talking about nutrient deficiencies isn't enough, unfortunately. 3. Know the key players in mental health and brain health. This is also very important to understand. Oftentimes, when you read an article about the importance of certain nutrients for your brain, you feel like you need to supplement all of them. This is a very common mistake, which often leads you to create the nutrient imbalances that I talked about before. Instead, focus on the key players in your health and try to bring them into balance. For example, many people are deficient in calming minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and zinc, while at the same time they have too many stimulating minerals in their tissue and brain, such as iron and copper. Bringing these nutrients back into balance can help ease a wide variety of symptoms and also lowers oxidative stress on your brain. Now, this should never be done alone, but instead with an experienced practitioner who knows what they're doing. That's because everyone is different and has different imbalances and deficiencies. You can't just simply take a protocol someone posted online and assume it will work for you as well. This brings me to the 4th point, which is using the right tests. Most practitioners still rely mostly on blood tests when it comes to vitamins and minerals. Some will also do a urine neurotransmitter analysis, but that's usually it. Both tests have some serious flaws and should not be used as an indicator of your overall nutrient status, at least not by themselves. I explain how to test your nutrient levels accurately in a different video, which you should definitely check out before supplementing blindly. Okay, so this was a rough overview of the most important pillars of nutritional psychiatry that work for me. Of course, keep in mind that this is still a fairly new and controversial field, so there are very few good studies out there, and there's still a lot of disagreement among different practitioners and institutions. All I can tell you is that when I started working with practitioners who followed the steps I just outlined, slowly my symptoms started getting better and better. This wasn't a linear process, and there were many ups and downs, but after about 6 months to a year, the progress I had made was so significant that I realized I was onto something. This takes me to the final part of the video. How can you get started if you want to try nutritional psychiatry out yourself? Like I said before, I generally recommend practitioners who follow the mineral balancing approach. I will link a video that explains this approach in more detail, but it is the most comprehensive framework that I've seen, which explains the different nutrient relationships and interactions. Another good approach that is similar to mineral balancing is the Walsh protocol. It was developed by William Walsh, president of the nonprofit Walsh Research Institute, which is located in Illinois in the US. They do the most extensive research into nutrient relationships in psychiatry that I know of, and it's definitely worth also checking out. His book, Nutrient Power, Heliobiochemistry and Heliobrain, is a good introduction to his work, which not only focuses on nutrients, but also on optimizing your body's methylation. Other than these two approaches, I really can't recommend much else, because like I said before, most other practitioners often have a very superficial understanding of nutrients and will just give you the normal vitamin B, vitamin D, omega-3 type of advice you hear everywhere else that unfortunately doesn't work for a lot of people. Hopefully, this video helped you understand the crazy interesting field of nutritional psychiatry a little better. Like I said before, I will link the most important resources and related videos for you to check out if you want to go down this rabbit hole. It was definitely worth it for me and completely changed my understanding of dieting and nutrition.